This is the Impressions Exchange Podcast. Where all topics impacting the graphic imaging and printing industry are addressed via in-depth news coverage, analysis, and timely interviews.
Hi, I'm Denise Gustafson, Editorial Director for Printing United Alliance, and the guest host for the special Printing Impressions podcast series in celebration of Women's History Month, highlighting women in the printing industry. During this series, I'll have the opportunity to talk with women from all segments of the industry about their experiences and their journey as a woman in the industry. So today, it is my pleasure to welcome Cathy Valenzuela. She's the account manager with ProGraphics. So Cathy, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
So to get us started, can you tell me a little bit of what you're doing currently for ProGraphics?
My role at ProGraphics is basically account manager, and because of our size, we take on a lot more than just account managers, and we handle everything from customer support, estimating, deliveries, installations, the whole works. So account manager is the overall and the main focus, but yes, we do everything we have to do to keep the clients happy and then going in the right direction.
Which is probably very similar to what most people do nowadays.
Absolutely. Hands-on.
Very hands-on.
Yes.
So how did you get started in the printing industry?
So I have been in the industry for over 30 years, and
Okay.
I found this interesting because I went to vocational school and for printing back in the day, and it has changed just so much from what I started to where I am now. But primarily it was an interest in high school with the vocational classes that we took, and just kind of led into the field and just loved it. And my dad worked in the printing offset industry, commercial, for many years. So I picked that up and kind of just ran with it as well. So it was in my blood, I could say.
Apparently it has been.
Yeah.
I have to say, not a lot of people can say they've done that vocational schools to get into the industry, because especially right now, there's not many of those left
There's
that
not
offer
really.
any kind of program for printing. There's few and far between at this point. A lot of them have unfortunately closed and they've moved into other directions.
Yes, for sure.
What made print so interesting for you when you were starting out?
I think just the versatility of it all, right? Just having every project I worked on was different, every different sizes, especially when I'm going into the grand format, large format arena, just see your work on a grand scale and all across the board, just how quickly it moves. It's not stagnant. It keeps you on your toes, right? So all of those things, just in general, I just found that's my passion, and I wanted to stick with it and make it my career.
So
Mhm.
obviously one of your role models, I'm guessing, would be your father, since he was in the printing business early on and he helped to shape some of what you were looking to do. Is there anybody else that you could say helped you or you looked up to as you were making your way through your career in printing?
There are a couple of people that did. I had a couple of people that helped me out along the way to guide me and just kind of be a good reference to talk to someone about it, my peers. One of them I mentioned to you was Jill Fletcher. She has been in the business for a very long time, very knowledgeable, and I worked with her for many years, and I feel like she helped guide me and trained me, if you will. And so I started my career off with her in a small shop as well, and then just kind of have kept in contact with her over the years and know that she's been a resourceful person to call on as well. A number of people that I feel like have been there throughout my years to kind of help support my career.
As you know, or as you've experienced, the printing industry tends to lean a little bit more into the male side of the gender.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, you've been in the industry for 30 years, you said?
Yes.
So probably 30 years ago, it was probably primarily men.
Yes.
It has changed over the years, but how did you or did you encounter any obstacles as a woman that when you wanted to enter the field?
Absolutely. So a little bit about my background. I began in the large format arena and kind of wanted to expand my knowledge, and I went into commercial offset, and that's when I really noticed the difference between the commercial offset and the large format, and really seeing the connection that all the men have together and allowing someone else to come in and work with them was the difficult part in that period. It was about a 5 year in offset commercial that I was in, and it is quite different than large format, the pace and the boys club, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. So I wanted to get back into large format specifically. And when the opportunity arose for pro graphics, I jumped at that. But I definitely, I saw the difference. In large format, not so much, just because working for a woman-owned business right now, it's not an issue at all.
Mm-hmm.
But coming from the background, there's definitely been challenges for a woman to be an account manager, a supervisor, production lead.
So when you were in those situations, like for instance, you mentioned in the commercial print, it was kind of
Mhm.
like the old boys club.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that? Obviously, it was your job. You had to work there. It was part of what you had to do. What was it like trying to insert yourself into that club in a way?
It was challenging every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so much. I think what they didn't realize is that the client themselves, you have to fit with that client, and not a male's not going to fit with the client all the time. So having a woman and being able to kind of step up or step in where they didn't fit is where I kind of found that nice sweet spot for myself to be able to work with individuals that were not necessarily wanting to work with a man, or also having that background of large format. Currently, you'll know that a lot of the commercial offset printers are leaning toward grand format, being that into their everyday work life too. So having that, I think I had that over them because they don't have any knowledge on large format, where
Mm-hmm.
I came in and I did, and I was able to take off with that. So that gave me a little kind of a head start on them with those types of projects. And then they felt like they needed me for that because they were able to come to me and get my recommendations and on that. So it kind of worked itself out, I think, over a period of time. But I did find myself in challenging situations with conflicts.
And trying to find that right balance as well,
Right. Yes.
because
That's
it can be difficult. They're used to dealing with people a certain way. You are coming in, you're new, so they don't know you either.
right.
And you're a woman, and you're probably younger than them by a certain
Yes.
degree. So there's you kind of have a couple of strikes against you in a way.
Yes.
But the fact that you had the experience on the wide format side, so that gave you a confidence, and that
Yes.
probably showed in how you interacted with them as well.
Yes. Absolutely. I think they saw that they needed my assistance for that. Therefore, they were being nice or they
Mhm.
were working with me and willing to work with me and those types of things. Yes.
So for you as a woman, what unique challenges do women face being leaders in the printing industry? I mean, you're an account executive, you've observed you work for a woman-owned business. Are there things that you've seen, whether in the wide format industry, whether in the commercial industry, that women who are leading teams, do they encounter different challenges? And have
Yeah,
you
I
seen
think
that?
so. I think they have to have more of they have to prove themselves, right? So they have to be there longer to accept and show their knowledge and their loyalty and their strengths before they're awarded like that position, right? A higher position, as opposed to some male can just walk in and have a little bit and get the
Yep.
job. So I think, if they prove to, I've seen that, yeah. So just I would say yes, that they would have to prove themselves in order to get that position or show that loyalty and show that knowledge firsthand. Mm-hmm.
Now, for you as a woman in a printing company, how important is it for you to be able to work for a woman-owned company or for another woman leader?
Game changer.
Why?
Yeah. I mean, 'cause it's so easy to speak to her on the same level of just hey, I have got a problem, or can you help me? And just communication, the key. I think she's very approachable, very, works both ways. She's learning from me, I'm learning from her. I think we feed off of each other a little harder when it's a man to kind of get that same level of attention, I think.
Another question I have kind of along the same topic is some of the stereotypes that we've seen for women and men in the industry
Mhm.
that in especially probably 30 years ago, the groups may have fallen into a little bit more. The old boys club, as we already
Mhm.
mentioned.
Mhm.
With women, we have a nurturing role a lot of times. A lot of times we're dealing with children, with family. So you tend to get oh, she works the mom hours. Or if you are aggressive or assertive, you can be labeled a certain way as well.
Right.
Has that kind of stereotype decreased over the years?
Yes.
How has it changed?
I think with just change in general, like the direction that of equality is
Mm-hmm.
going in has a lot to do with it. And I have experienced all those things you said. But nowadays, I think the kids that are coming in the industry are open-minded and have more respect. So I am starting to see a decline in it. I like it. I definitely feel like it's going in the right direction and it's a long time coming.
Society is more cognizant of it as well.
Yes, absolutely. Mhm.
And I think in some regard also women are now no longer as afraid as maybe they once were, maybe not afraid or reluctant to call people out about some of it too.
Right. 100% believe that. Mhm. With all of the history of all the sexual harassment has really stepped up and changed a lot of that, changed the ways people can talk to people. And so it has to be regulated and whatnot, or you'll get sued. So hopefully that has a lot to do with their behavior too. I can see that. But I was thinking more along the lines of a lot of the marketing and advertising people that are coming into play. Their printers are working directly with are younger and they're more open-minded and their equality is an important thing to them as well. So I feel like that in itself, that change is going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Many of them also, they very much want to be authentic in who they are.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
In some ways, they're not afraid to express it either, for good or for bad, I guess.
Right. Mhm.
But that can be very refreshing in some other ways
Mhm.
because it can help to provide those more diverse voices that we might not have in the industry.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But
Mhm.
how do we get more of those diverse voices in the first place?
That was something I was thinking about. One of the questions you listed, and I was like, how do we get women
Mm-hmm.
into the field of print and get them excited about the industry and having a career path and choosing this direction. Like myself, I started in high school in vocational, and it was a different ball game back then. But once I got into print, I didn't leave, and I felt like that. I think that's the part where we have to get them. We have to get them to like try it, and
Mm-hmm.
then you'll like it. I know there's courses they can really target for print or but it's something to think about and I would like to see more women in the print industry for sure.
I mean, right now, I think a lot of women, when they're coming in, they tend to come in through sales and marketing,
Yes.
maybe HR, maybe graphic design. Those, for whatever reason, lend themselves, and women tend to gravitate toward those kinds of positions.
Yes.
But in the same way, I also think the print industry as a whole is its own worst enemy in some ways, because the perception of the industry is that it's older,
Mhm.
that it's dirty. I mean, when you think about it,
Yeah.
when a lot of people think about the print industry, you think about newspapers, the ink coming off on your hands or things along
Yeah.
those lines. But the reality is so much different than what is perceived.
Yeah.
I
And I think
remember I had one woman tell me, she showed me her finger. She's like, I get a manicure every week. I don't have to worry about breaking a nail or about ink staining everything. She goes, because it's so much different than it was before.
Yeah, and I think that's changing though, because I see that it's more of a creative role, right? As an
Mhm.
account manager, it's not just hit print, it's solutions, right? We got to find a solution and how they want and where they want to display it. And so it's more getting into that creative mindset as well with the client, working together to find a solution and materials. And so it definitely has changed in that aspect of it's not, I don't feel like it's, I would say dirty, but I don't feel like I get my hands dirty in production side of it like that. More so
Mhm.
finding solutions would be, but going back to how do we get more women interested? I think that would be a good way to start is with as marketing print as creative and solutions, not necessarily
The
printing,
process.
the process itself. Yeah. Because there's so much different types of print. I mean, when you look at it, right? Like you said, the newspaper magazine, then you have your offset commercial, your large format, your grand, your promotional, all those different fields. They're all print, but they're all different aspects of it, right?
It's
So
ink on
different
something.
fields, different careers. Yeah.
And I think one thing also that people tend to focus on is the process, which is kind of also because that's where you get the image that, oh, I'm going to get ink on my hands, it's not going to come off. But for many people like you as an account executive, or
Mhm.
if you're in finance or you're in different aspects of the industry, you might not have anything to do with actual running of a press.
Right.
Even if you're doing, a lot of the companies now are digital.
Mhm.
Toner, whatever inks, they're contained. It's not like there's open containers. You're not mixing. Equipment's doing that all for you.
Mhm.
So it's a very
Yes,
different environment, but sometimes I think it's hard to get past that perception
I
to
agree.
let them know that there's a lot more that could be involved, but it's a good job. It could be a career.
I am just thinking about the front end of the HR and the account
Hmm.
manager, but I have worked with many of women who are on the production floor, commercial offset, people that are running presses and bindery machines, and they like what they do and they become very good at it and that's why they stick to it. It's a they're learning this thing and they become very good at it. So, but it is challenging. It's considered a man's job, right?
Hmm.
To be a press operator or but women know color just as well as men. So I mean, definitely I think I can see that from the production end of it being harder to get women involved for sure.
Hmm. And to convince them that this is something that can be a career for them, like I mentioned.
Yes.
So, as a woman with a career in printing, a 30-year-long career in printing, you obviously have a personal life and family life as well.
Yes.
That's one of the things that a lot of women find difficult to balance. It's usually leaning one way or the other in many cases. How do you balance it so that way you're comfortable with that work-life balance that you have?
So it's not an issue for me now. My boys are older and graduated, everything done. So it's
So
not an
you have
issue
it
for
easy
me.
now.
Yeah, it's easy now. It was a balance between the two. I find myself sometimes trying to meet deadlines, sometimes delivering on a Saturday or not. It's just your support of your family. My husband, of course, helping me with the kids and whatnot. But I think having that support, but honestly, I didn't find it interrupting in my life and my work career as being a mom. So I was lucky enough, like I said, to have a supportive husband and who helped me with the kids and that schedule. So, but I can see it being issues for some moms or some single mothers and having to deal with that. I would just hope that as a as an employer or manager myself and seeing that happen that I they could look for them as support too that would be available to them
Mhm.
now. So that'd be something to definitely keep an eye out for in the future to
Yeah,
for
definitely. As
moms.
we get
Yeah.
those moms coming in, like you said, the single parents,
Hmm.
childcare.
Yeah.
How does that work? We've seen all the headlines about how expensive childcare is. I
Yeah.
don't have any children, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Yours are grown and behind you at this point, but how can that next generation that's coming in, that's starting their family? at
Mhm.
starting that path, having the companies be supportive, having the managers be supportive, but also hopefully that they have a support team externally as well to help them.
Yes. Yeah, I like that would be important.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, a little bit more about networking and community. How important is networking for you and community involvement for you as part of your professional growth?
Been in the industry for so long, 30 years. Networking was a big part of it in the beginning of my career. So I've been lucky enough to kind of carry that along with me along my path and have a good following and client base. But of course, the first thing, if you're just starting off, networking, community, and getting involved and being hands on is important. By all means, that's going to be 80% of your income. For me, it was really important in the first days, first years of my career. Now I don't really, I'm not going to say too involved, but I don't really should do more. Find myself networking as far as online, LinkedIn, those types of networking, more technical than going out to a restaurant and meeting other people
Industry
or
folks
industry
or
groups. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think those days for unfortunately for me are in the past. But I do feel like I still network via online and
But when you were starting out, it was important.
it was important. I would say, yeah, it's 80% of your income is coming from that. Very important. And especially the community. I will say, like, I will get involved with community if it has to do with things that I'm passionate about. If it's anything to do with pets or pets or kids, and absolutely will reach out and work with them. And
And to
mhm,
put your time and effort into it,
exactly. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
because we all are limited in the time that we have.
Yes.
Obviously, you have a career in printing, so that takes certain precedence. You have a home life, so that's going to take a certain precedence. And then what can you carve out for those other pieces that you want to do?
Right. Absolutely.
Knowing what you know now, based on your 30 years in the industry, from starting in the vocational side and the school, learning printing, making your way through the various companies that you've worked for, what advice would you give yourself if you were just starting now, if you were just going to walk in the door of a print shop and start on your first day? What advice would you give yourself?
If you're happy, stay. If you're happy, stay where you're at.
And if you're not?
If you're not, then definitely you need to find a position that's going to make you happy. And by that, just to define that a little bit more, is bigger is not always better as far as the company size and growth, and bigger is not always better. And you might get lost in that shuffle. You'll get overlooked in that shuffle. There's just more to do to have to stand out and to get to where you want to be. So if you are happy where you're at, don't let that guide you in the wrong direction.
Mhm. I mean, being
That would
content
be,
in what you're doing is important,
yeah,
and also having a clear path for advancement.
yes,
Sometimes in those larger companies, it can be hard to see that.
yes, agree.
And you worry that, am I just another cog in the wheel and the grind? And does what I do really matter? But in a smaller company, you can definitely see the impact you're making.
Absolutely. Yes. And that makes you happy and that makes you work harder and smarter and all of those things. The loyalty is there, and going from the different sizes and scales, that you definitely see the reward for that, for staying, being loyal. And
Cathy, it was an absolute pleasure to talk with you today.
oh, thank you. Likewise. Thank you for your time.
And thank you for spending some of your time with me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Denise.